When she walked away, she expected chaos, pleading texts, desperate calls, and frantic attempts to win her back. She assumed her absence would leave a gaping void, a desperate scramble for reconciliation. But instead of feeding into her expectations, you did something far more powerful: nothing. Silence wasn't just a lack of response. It was an act of control, a statement louder than words. It forced a shift in dynamics, revealing who truly held emotional power. While she anticipated validation through your desperation, your silence became a mirror, reflecting not your need for her, but her dwindling influence over you. This absence of reaction wasn't weakness, it was transformation. It allowed you to detach, to reassess, to evolve into someone who no longer seeks external validation. True strength isn't in chasing. It's in standing still while the world expects you to crumble. Doing nothing isn't passive. It's the ultimate power move, one that forces the other person to confront the void they thought they'd leave in you, only to realize you've already filled it with something far greater: self-mastery. Number 1. The myth of chasing. Society perpetuates a dangerous myth: the idea that love must be fought for, that proving one's feelings through grand gestures is the key to winning someone's heart. Movies, music, and even well-meaning friends reinforce this narrative, encouraging relentless pursuit as a sign of devotion. But in reality, chasing someone who is pulling away only confirms their belief that you lack strength. Every desperate text, every emotional plea, and every attempt to seek validation chips away at respect. Why? Because chasing communicates a fundamental imbalance. It tells the other person, "I need you more than you need me." This shifts the power dynamic entirely, placing them in control while reducing you to an option rather than a priority. True strength does not lie in begging for attention or fighting for relevance. It is found in stillness. By refusing to react, you disrupt expectations. When someone anticipates drama but is met with silence instead, they are forced to confront an unexpected void. And in that void, uncertainty takes root. The absence of reaction speaks louder than any words ever could, making them question their own choices. This is the paradox of attraction. Sometimes, the greatest impact comes not from pursuit, but from disciplined restraint. Number 2. Her test, your triumph. Women often pull away not out of malice, but to test a man's emotional stability. It's an instinctive act, a subconscious way of assessing whether he will stand firm or falter under pressure. Most men, driven by fear of loss, fail this test spectacularly. They analyze every word, seek desperate closure, and drown themselves in anxiety-fueled overthinking. This response only confirms what she suspected. His sense of self is fragile, dependent on external validation. But the man who understands his worth, he does not chase. He does not plead. Instead, he lets her go, not as an act of defiance, but out of unwavering self-respect. At first, she feels victorious, assuming he's suffering in silence, waiting for the perfect moment to break. But as time passes with no texts, no social media engagement, and no visible signs of distress, the power dynamic shifts. Why isn't he reacting? Did I miscalculate? These questions begin to erode her certainty. Women crave emotional security, and when faced with silence, they are forced to reassess their own choices. The man who was once predictable now becomes an enigma, a mystery she cannot solve. And in that mystery, attraction is reignited. Number 3. The mind's power play. Women are not drawn to mere actions. They are captivated by the ideas a man represents. Predictability breeds complacency, making a man easy to categorize and, eventually, overlook. But silence? It is the most powerful tool of intrigue. It creates a void that her mind rushes to fill, spinning endless possibilities about who you are and what you might be doing. When you step back, she is left questioning. Is he moving on? Did I misjudge him? Does he even care? These questions do more than haunt her. They elevate your presence in her mind. The absence of answers forces her to ascribe higher value to you, painting you as someone confident, self-sufficient, and, most importantly, irreplaceable. This is why exes often return after months of separation. Your indifference makes you unpredictable. Your silence turns you into a mystery, and mystery breeds obsession. By choosing not to chase, you transform yourself into the puzzle she can't resist solving, rather than the book she has already read and set aside. Number 4. Validation's double-edged sword. Attention is the currency she trades in, and the more freely you give it, the less valuable it becomes. When you constantly shower her with texts, calls, and approval, she no longer has to work for your focus. It's simply given, making it ordinary and easy to take for granted. But when you pull back, when your responses become scarce and your presence unpredictable, the balance shifts. Suddenly, she's the one seeking validation. She notices when you don't react to her social media posts, when her messages go unanswered, when her usual charms fail to command your attention. The uncertainty unsettles her because she's used to being fed a steady diet of admiration, and now the supply has been cut off. This is the psychological trigger. People value what is scarce and dismiss what is abundant. Women respect what they have to earn. If you are always accessible, you blend into the background. There's nothing to chase, nothing to desire. But if you become more discerning with your time and energy, you transform into something rare, something worth pursuing. A high-value man does not hand out validation like spare change. He makes it something that must be earned. Number 5. The shift. When she hunts. The paradox of attraction is simple yet powerful. Stop chasing, and she starts. Women are naturally drawn to what feels just out of reach, a challenge that ignites their instinct to pursue. When you withdraw your attention, it creates a vacuum, compelling her to fill it. But here's the catch. She'll test you. She might post subtly curated photos meant to provoke a reaction or send vague, open-ended texts to gauge your interest. The moment you take the bait, you hand back control, resetting the dynamic to where she's in the driver's seat. The key is to remain indifferent. Let her make the effort. Let her wonder. If she truly values you, she'll invest, proving her sincerity through consistent actions rather than breadcrumbs of attention. And if she doesn't, then her lukewarm attempts expose the reality. You were never her priority. This isn't about manipulation. It's about clarity. It's about recognizing your own worth and refusing to be a backup plan. You shift from being the one who chases to the one who is pursued, the prize she must work to keep. Number 6. Rebirth. The unbreakable you. The version of you who once prioritized her over yourself no longer exists. That man, the one who placed someone else's happiness above his own growth, is a relic of the past. The new you is driven, focused, and relentless in your pursuit of self-improvement. Every gym session, every career milestone, every small but intentional act of personal growth is a bold declaration. I'm unstoppable. You no longer seek validation from those who walked away. If she happens to hear about your success, sees your transformation, or even begins to regret her choices, it won't matter, because you have outgrown the need for her approval. A man who has evolved doesn't dwell on the past. He moves forward with unwavering confidence. He understands that his worth is not tethered to the presence or absence of any single person. If she ever returns, it will be on your terms, not out of desperation or longing, but because you have built a life so fulfilling that no single person defines it. And if she doesn't, then so be it, because better, greater opportunities will always await a man who refuses to settle. Number 7. Final truth. You've already won. Silence is not a strategy to manipulate or win someone back. It is an assertion of self-respect and personal power. When you stop chasing, you shift the dynamic entirely. You reveal a crucial truth. The validation she once received from you was more important to her than you ever realized. Women are naturally drawn to men who are unshaken, men who do not crumble in the face of emotional turbulence. A man who remains composed, self-assured, and purpose-driven is infinitely more attractive than one who begs for attention or approval. This is why your silence should not be fueled by resentment, but by genuine detachment. Letting go with apathy, not hostility, demonstrates that your growth surpasses the need for external validation. You no longer measure your worth by another person's acceptance, because you have found it within yourself. The man you are becoming does not fear losing someone who failed to recognize his value. He is too preoccupied with becoming his best self, and in the end, that is the real victory, one that no amount of pleading or persuasion could ever achieve. Conclusion: if this message resonates with you, it's time to take action. True strength isn't found in fleeting emotions or external validation. It's built through discipline, resilience, and a mindset rooted in Stoic wisdom. By joining the Brotherhood, you align yourself with a community dedicated to self-mastery and inner peace. Subscribe to our channel, Stoic24, and take the first step toward elevating your mindset. Engage with us. Leave a comment saying "unshakable" below to declare your commitment to becoming mentally fortified against life's uncertainties. Your journey to unwavering strength begins now.